Business strategy is massively important when approaching Upland. This is the third video in the series on business models that I use, so if you missed the first two, make sure to check out the links at the top or go back a couple in the series and you'll see them there. Hey there, John Henry here, Slingshot Futures Trading Group, SSFTG. I hope your meta ventures have been ludicrously profitable so far this year. Like I said, this is the third video in the series, so make sure to watch the first two as well. In this one, I'm going to be covering the aggressive and active business models for Upland. This one is quite a bit different than the others, whereas we were talking about passive and something that's a little bit slower and let it kind of do its thing and grow over time, or the value sniping, which can be relatively active at the time, but once you've acquired a couple good value snipes, then you've got to sit and let them kind of sell, and it takes a little bit of time. This one can be a bit more of a time sink and is likely more for those that are looking to do more than just a side gig, because quantity is quality here. The idea of the aggressive business model is to fill the void much like Walmart does. There are a ton of Uplanders out there who really don't want to pay the fees to travel the distances and move their BE around the map. And they really just don't want to deal with that whole hassle, or even possibly just deal with the wait. The reason doesn't really matter, but what is important here and what does matter is that there are going to be buyers out there who don't mind spending 15 or 20% more to buy a property closer to mint price so they don't have to travel there and do it themselves. The competition is heavy on this one because there are going to be a lot of unminted properties right next door, so pricing has to be aggressive as well. The idea here is that we're looking to mint and buy everything that we can basically afford that is at or under mint in terms of even flips. As we add more properties to our portfolio, we want to ensure that the newly minted property are also selling, so we have to price them, again, a la Walmart style, with a smaller markup. Don't forget, there are fees with this. Every time I go in to purchase or sell something, there is a fee associated with it. That's how blockchain works. In corporate America, it's usually just hidden. At least in blockchain, you know there's fees, right? But here, it's right there, right in plain English. Super obvious, right? Yes, the asking price is 99,000 UPX for this property, just as an example, but you're going to pay 103,950. That's because there's a 5% tax on everything that happens, and we've talked about those fees and what happens to those. Now, when we go in and we look to sell a property, it's a very similar situation. If we were to take an example of one of my properties and I wanted to, let's say, sell this property, I'm not interested at all in selling this, but if I did and we go in to sell, when I go into UPX or USD, it doesn't really matter, and I say, let's say I want to sell this for 100,000, right? What you'll see underneath it is that you will get 95,000. Again, there is a 5% tax. So effectively, every single purchase and sale that you make, you have to assume that there's going to be a 10% difference on both sides. So if we're going to be pricing things at 15%, that's really only a 5% ROI. You can see why this is a la Walmart. Quantity is everything here. Now, a 5% ROI may seem like it's totally pointless, but again, the idea here is quantity. The location doesn't really matter. The name and the collection, that doesn't really matter. None of those things really matter. We're looking for the quick flip, and we're looking to do it en masse. It's all about the quick flip here, a la Walmart style. So remember, portfolio flipping 20 properties a day at a 5% ROI on each one of them is still doing 100% overall ROI. And that's just absolutely ridiculous. But remember, right, it's all about the quantity, and that means that it's going to be a little bit more of an active, a little bit more of an expensive approach up front, especially if there aren't any new properties that are being minted or able to mint at a reasonable price until the next city launch. Which, of course, brings us to the next topic and another aggressive approach that I absolutely love using and something that I need to record when LA comes out, and that is the city launch flip. Oh man, I love a city launch flip. When a city is launched and a launch is happening in vanilla mode, and if you're not sure about that, there's a video that goes over it, nobody knows what the collection is going to be, or where it's going to be, or what the ultra rares are going to be, or what the street collections are going to be. It's all speculation and guessing. This means that we can sell properties at 2x or 3x the mint price almost immediately during the land rush while everyone else is speculating. Yes, you do, of course, miss out on the lotto ticket flips if you were buying a collection and you didn't know it. But you're passing up that opportunity of the big long-term hold and flip for a ton more later on a lotto ticket hold. You're basically giving up that opportunity for the short-term opportunity in volatility and hype. These are the times where you can take a fresh account that you might have loaded up with like 20,000 UPIX and walk away with 200,000 UPIX in minutes. Seriously. When we're talking a new city launch here, it's all about that quantity. Remember, the location in this case, if we're looking at city launch flips, is irrelevant. We can speculate and we can guess and maybe hold a couple of them, but the goal of a city launch flip is to play the volatility. When we had the city launch in Berkeley and Oakland, and before that with Bronx and some of the other big ones, we had the ability to go into really densely populated areas like this, mint a whole boatload of profits for 6,000, 7,000, 10,000 UPIX, and then go on the secondary market and flip them for 30 or 40,000 because of the hype. People are speculating what the properties are going to be, which properties are going to be valued at what they believe the ultra rares are going to be. So the approach then is to go, again, like Walmart style, buy everything you can, sell it at a smaller markup. With a city launch, though, the smaller markup is still like 2 or 3x, and then looking to use that to your advantage during the hype while everybody else is speculating. You will have to make sure that you have enough sends and as much UPIX as you can stack, because you can only mint new properties with UPIX. So as soon as your property mints, the timer begins. That is the first and second block confirmation, and those are the most important because that is the calm before the storm. The first and second confirmations of a city launch are easily the most important parts of if you're going to play the city launch flip. The first confirmation on the chain was confirming the other people who were probably a bit luckier than you in terms of location. If you didn't happen to be in the right location at the right time of that city launch, then you're going to have to wait for the other people to buy it and put their properties up for sale or just purchase them in general. Because what's going to happen is when you're staring at this and all of the properties are gray, nobody's minted anything, as soon as you see this little blue thing, all of a sudden now everybody's going to click on that one and immediately send to it. And that's so that they can get in the zone and try to mint everything that they can get their hands on. That's the first confirmation. As soon as you see that thing light up, the first confirmation is done, and then the second confirmation comes in. Now, like I talked about here, when we're talking the second confirmation, that's when the first wave of buying happened, and it's when a wave of explorers, a ton of them, are all sending to one location or a small group of locations to the first confirmation buyers, the people who got lucky and bought those locations first. Now, there's something to be said here, because when you buy that first or second confirmation property, you will get a lot of send fees. You actually can make a couple thousand just on the first purchase in fees. Something to consider. But if you can get your explorers sent in buying properties between the first and second confirmation, you're going to be making a ton of ROI. The reason for this is actually pretty simple. When a map looks like this and everything is sold out and you're the only property that is showing up on the sell side because you managed to buy your property on the first confirmation or within the second, letting the second confirmation settle so that you can place your order or your, in this case, property for sale on the third confirmation. And when the map looks like this where nobody else is for sale and yours is the only one, guess whose is going to sell first? Basically, the faster you can get your purchase confirmed on the blockchain so that you can turn around and sell it on the secondary market, the better. When you're the first one to the party here, you're going to win. And if you're the first batch of, like the very first few who are selling properties, you may even be able to control the price a little bit. And then things get really fun. When LA launches, like I said, I'm going to try to record the process so you can see it in action. I am going to be buying and selling and holding. I'm not very in the know about LA. I don't know much about it, but I'll do my best to try to record what I can. So make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. Aggressive investing is an amazingly profitable and really fun way to approach Upland for faster growth and a great way to get quickly revolving portfolios and front ends going. That said, it isn't the only approach, like we said at the beginning of the video, so make sure to go back and watch the others in the series too, so that you're fully filled in on all of the different approaches that we use. If you aren't in Upland yet, dragging those huge stacks around, click the referral link in the description below. It gets you in the game with some starter upicks, and to get going, if you decide to invest some cash, you get a massive 50% bonus on your first upicks purchase. You only get that perk though if you click the link when you registered, so don't miss out on the easy upicks bonus. I hope you have an amazingly profitable time in the metaverse, and thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.